Have you ever thought about what podcasters can learn from record producers? Well, if you get the third stage of the ACME-M method right, you'll benefit from years of music production experience and set yourself up for great sound. This is probably the hardest step to get right, and it's going to take some practice. But if you don't know what you're looking for, you won't even know what to practice until you know more about this stage. What's happening, podcasters? I'm Brian Ensminger with another episode about podcasting. I'm here to help you launch, improve, and sustain your show. Today's going to be probably pretty quick. We've had a bit of a long day with some family stuff, but I did want to connect with you and share what's going on right here. So about 5 years ago, when I started my podcast, I wanted to sound great, and I probably had a little bit of some unrealistic expectations. Even though I had some background in music and I'd worked with audio before, I didn't necessarily know everything that I needed to know to make spoken words sound great. And I knew that maybe people wouldn't swoon at the sultry sounds of my voice speaking, but I at least wanted it to sound great, or at minimum, I didn't want it to be distracting. I didn't want to turn people off because it was so bad. The thing was, I kind of knew a little bit of something that was going on, but I was also realizing that there was something missing, and I wasn't quite sure what was going on. And if I'm really honest with myself, sometimes the audio quality of my show made me not as interested in sharing with people. I didn't want to promote it quite as much because of that. And I tried everything I could think of. I looked at YouTube videos. I tried tweaking settings, working with different presets. I even picked up some different software, but I never quite had it nailed down to where I was happy. And I wasn't sure where to turn to learn more, but I knew that I needed some outside help. And that's when I decided to enroll in the podcast engineering school with Chris Curran. Now, this isn't a commercial for him, but that was a great school. And that's where I discovered that there was a stage of production that really I was only doing about half of the work for. And it was really kind of all mashed together in different stages, and it was all kind of mixed up. And so it wasn't giving me the results it could have if I had known what to focus on when. And that's where we get to the first M of the ACME-M method. So we've assessed our data. We understand what's going on. We've done some conditioning, some noise reduction, some things like that. Now we're getting to mixing and assembling the data, or assembling the pieces. This is where we put all of the pieces together. We make any cuts or insertions based on timestamps. If we've made timestamp notes to go, hey, this goes here, this part needs to come out. If we've done any of that, this is where we start assembling and then mixing things together. Then we're going to go through track by track, and we're going to work with the compression and the EQ and any other effects to make each track individually sound great, and then to make sure that all the voices are balanced and that they sound good together, and to make sure that the music and the other elements are loud enough, but not too loud. That's pretty much it for this step. It sounds easy, but it's really not as easy as it sounds. And I know this from my experience. I did some work for a prominent editor. I was helping him out, and I knew about the steps, and I was following them, even this step. But if I'm really honest, my mixes still weren't as good as his, and he has years and decades of experience, and believe me, he has really good ears. So this is, even though I know about this step, it's something that I continue to work on, and it's something that you'll have to continue on to work on as well. And it might actually be the hardest step to get right, because if you have really rough audio and you get to the stage where we're conditioning and repairing the audio, you know that you may not be able to make it perfect, but even with really good inputs, if you don't get the mix just right, it can really mess some stuff up. But I did some work for him, and I took his feedback, and I also got some other hands-on experience and insight into his process. And even though my mixes weren't quite on his level, I'm continuing to get better. I'm continuing to learn and to tweak because I'm focusing on this step of the ACME-M process. And once I get the mix and the assembly for a process or project that I'm working on, then I can move on to the next stage with confidence, because the mix sounds good. So the mix is going to be great, and then I can move on and know that the rest of it's going to sound great as well. And you'll be able to do that too. If you found this valuable, consider attending the Christian Podcaster Summit. I'll be doing a session there where we're going to talk about the ACME-M method. We're going to go through it and talk about some of the tools that I use, as well as some of the things that go on with that. But it's not just me. There's also there's a lot more stuff. There's also a person that's going to talk about building a media kit. We're going to talk about getting great guests. We're going to talk about using social media. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff right there. And even though we won't be focusing on your specific show, you'll be able to pick stuff up for that. And as a bonus, if you're interested in going to that and you use my affiliate link, which is at toptieraudio.com/summit, I'm going to have some bonuses to give you as well. These are going to be things focused on helping you implement the ACME-M method and also do some other stuff that goes beyond that. I've got some videos planned and some stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, toptieraudio.com/summit. Or if you're interested in some one-on-one attention, if you want to sit down and talk about your audio production process, anything from recording to publishing, and how we could maybe fix some problems that you're having or create a system or a process that works for you, identify tools or things like that, I'd be glad to do that with you. You can visit toptieraudio.com and set up a consultation. Be glad to talk to you about that. Thanks again. Now go out there and make a great podcast.